Welcome to Pardon My French.
The podcast that teaches you French in a fun and casual way.
My name is Tom.
And my name is James.
Enjoy the show.
So, welcome to episode 2 of Pardon My French podcast.
We did say we might talk about bars and going out and drinking, and that's what we think this episode should be about. So
Yeah.
if it all goes to plan,
Yeah?
this one will be about bars and alcohol. So to get us kicked off, you got any good stories about bars or alcohol?
Well, it's funny you ask that actually, yeah, because...
It's as if we'd planned it.
I know, yeah. It's as if I've just been to a city, which is one of the largest breweries in Europe.
What was that?
Pilsner. Yeah, it's called Pilsner. So, in fact, you know, in the Czech Republic, we would get we bought a lot of very cheap beer. I mean, beer is very cheap, well, all over, really. I guess
All over Europe or all over...
Well, all over the Czech Republic, particularly. For example, a 50 centilitres of beer in a bottle of very good beer as well would cost around 18 pence in British.
Centilitres?
Centilitres, yeah. 50 centilitres, so half a litre. Yeah.
So 500 ml, yeah?
Yeah. So, okay, so this leads us on to an interesting point. So if you're in a European bar, that would include Swiss, French, German, you name it, the measurement of alcohol that you get, mainly in terms of beer, is different from that which you would get in England. So instead of getting a full pint, which you'd call a pint,
Like your pants?
kind of like
Pint.
a pint. The pronunciation is almost the same. So if you said "Je voudrais un pint,"
Yeah.
and just went like that, they'd probably understand what you meant.
If you did like a gesture for drinking, like "Je voudrais un pint."
Yeah, but don't actually like wiggle. Don't actually like shake your pants like that to kind of indicate that you're saying pant, because it could look really weird.
I would like...
Yeah, if you say you'd like that and then jingle your trousers around.
do your elephant impression, then it could go quite badly.
Yeah. You'll probably get thrown out. So I wouldn't do that. But yeah, so
You're
you'd
meant
say,
to be telling a story.
"Je voudrais une pint." So that's
I would like a pint.
That's 50 centilitres, so half a litre. Interestingly, if in England, if you went into a bar and asked for just a beer, normally you would get it in a pint size.
Yes.
Whereas on the continent, if you ask for une bière, it will almost always come in a 25 centilitres size, which is half a pint, basically, or half a European pint.
It's a very European look, the half beer.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have recognised it from, if you've been travelling in Europe, loyal listeners, you'll recognise the kind of the standard European look, long, thin cigar in one hand, tall, thin glass of beer in the other. Even the little Stella Artois glasses, just
Quite
a kind
a
of
head.
a flute of...
You get a head in Europe as well.
Yeah.
Opposed to England, where they give you a massive head.
Yeah.
In Europe, they don't serve a pint or a half pint without it.
Well, it's like you're already getting less because they only fill it up to the marker, not to the brim of the glass.
Yeah.
And then half of that's head.
And also, I think in England, it seems quite sexist. If a man went up and said, "Can I have a beer, please?" in England, it's a pint. If a lady was to go to the bar, "Can I have a beer, please?" they might ask her.
Verify.
Yeah. Do
what
you want a half
size.
pint or a pint?
Yeah. So the word size in French is taille.
Like a tie.
Yeah. So it sounds a bit like the word taille. In fact, the word for someone who makes clothes in England is
A tailor.
a tailor, which comes from the word a tailleur.
A tire.
Someone who makes the size of something, who measures the size of your clothing. Tailleur.
But we use the word attire.
Well, but it's spelt with a beginning with a T.
Yeah.
Tailleur. So that becomes anglicised into tailor. I mean, loads of professions do that as well. So
Is it because the French are like more suave and sophisticated than us?
Well,
and they had suits before us.
maybe, yeah.
Probably they did.
Maybe it's just like we didn't have words for certain things before we were, conquered left, right, and centre.
I imagine the French were making suits before we were.
French speakers,
yeah.
that is. French speakers.
You're meant to be telling a story.
Do a sample. Okay.
You're doing a story.
So one very interesting thing about the Prague culture is they're famous for their absinthe,
Absinthe.
which in French is just absinthe.
Absinthe.
Absinthe. It's spelt the same but with an E, and that's
It means you pronounce.
it's pronounced absinthe.
Absinthe.
Absinthe. Yeah, so me and my fellow road trippers, we went into a bar and we decided we'd sample the local drink.
Yeah.
And we more or less knew how to do it. So we knew you had to kind of have some sugar, you meant to have a spoon, something along those lines. But what we didn't know is you meant to dunk the sugar cube first into the absinthe and then light it.
Were you just trying to light a sugar cube?
We were just trying to light sugar cubes, yeah, with a cigarette lighter, and we were kind of burning ourselves.
What was everyone else doing?
There was only us two. So anyway, we were there looking like buffoons, trying to light these sugar cubes with our cigarette lighters, and in the end we were shown how to do it by the barmaid, who was pretty much on the verge of tears of laughter.
Yeah. Well, how did you know you had to light the sugar cube? Did she tell you?
Yeah, well, we had heard stuff through the grapevine, so to speak.
So why are you meant to light a sugar cube once you've dunked it in the abs?
Don't know. It kind of melts it or something. It turns into like a liquidy.
Well, then you drink the
and then you
sugary spoon.
In.
Oh no, you melt. Oh, okay. So you use the absinthe as a fuel.
Yeah, as a fuel
to melt the sugar. Then you can stir it into your drink.
Yeah, and then you do the shot, and it's.
Is it slightly warm then?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of warm by the end. Yeah.
Isn't it illegal absinthe? Like real absinthe?
I think certain percentages of absinthe,
like real, true, like old school.
Oh, what old
like
school?
Original,
like old school absinthe.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the percentage, but in Europe, this is another thing about alcohol. They don't really say percentage; they would say degree. So you wouldn't say this vodka is 35%. You would say it's 35 degrees. You know, like almost like an angle.
Yeah, but angles go into 360.
Okay, well, yeah. If you had an absinthe that was 360% alcohol, you'd probably have a hangover the next day. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I had quite an interesting night when I was at university.
Oh yeah.
And I got invited around a friend's house, and there was a few of us, maybe 6 of us. I said, we're going to play poker and drink. I've never played poker before.
Oh, no.
So I started playing poker, and if you lost a hand, you had to drink. And I was so bad at poker that I got worse and worse. And as I got even worse, they started adding spirits to my beer. And I didn't notice because I was getting more drunk and more drunk. And we ended up going out into town afterwards, out into the city even. And it was probably 9 o'clock when we went out because it started early. But for me, I was so drunk it could have been any time.
You were spiked.
Yeah, but...
You were abused.
Yeah, I broke my phone that evening as well. I fell off a bed and smashed my phone between my hip and the floor. The screen was destroyed. A Nokia... it's an 8 gigabyte...
It makes no difference. They were all bricks back then, weren't they?
It was beautiful, mate.
Huh?
I went to uni a little while ago compared to you.
Was it beautiful after you smashed it with your hip?
No.
No, I didn't
but,
think
yeah, so we ended up at a pub in town, a big one, you know, that serves really cheap drinks.
Oh, yeah?
And does like a curry night and all that. But
like a gastro pub?
Well, like a Weatherspoons, I guess it was. And I was too drunk, so we tried to get in, but in the process of getting in, I got abused by a hen party of these 30 to 40-year-old women just touching me up. So my friend, they're like, oh, you... And I was like, that's not good.
Oh, you youngster.
I don't remember much of it, but my friend just put me in a taxi and sent me home. Yeah. So, yeah, that was all caused by drink.
Ah, okay.
So what would be the French for drink?
So you want to know how to say...
A drink.
To take a drink.
To take a drink.
So the word for drink to drink in French is boire.
Boire.
Boire. Yeah, it's quite a nice sound.
I've heard the word boire, and I've heard the word boive.
Well, so the word boive is actually a conjugation of the word boire. So boire is what you'd call the infinitive, is what you'd find in the dictionary if you look up the word to drink.
Yep.
And boive is the conjugation for multiple people. If you're saying they drink, you'd say ils boivent.
Is it the same if you say we drink?
If you say we drink, then it's nous buvons. So it's actually changes quite a lot in the pronunciation. Yeah. So that's just an example of how a lot of these verbs, which might seem quite common, or maybe not so common in usage, sometimes have very irregular structures.
It's quite different to English in the sense that I'd say I drink, you drink, they drink, we drink.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
it's all drink. Yeah,
so in French and in a lot of, in fact, a lot of the European languages.
The Romantic languages or just European languages?
Well, in fact, in Germanic as well, it often changes a bit more than in English, depending on the subject of the sentence. the actual verb changes as well. So I drink is je bois.
Je bois.
Je bois, yeah. And what would you drink, for example? So you would drink a drink.
Yeah.
So the verb to drink is boire, but the noun of a drink is boisson.
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 A bit like a fish.
Like a fish, yeah. So if you want to think of that, if you were if you're having a fish drink, like if you blended up a salmon and then had a kind of salmon smoothie, then it would be a poisson boisson.
Poisson boisson.
You could have that with a bit of pain à banane as well.
Au raisin.
So things you might drink. Let's think about that. What are we currently drinking? We're drinking red wine. But we're drinking a glass of red wine. So a glass is un verre.
Un verre is a glass.
Yeah, un verre. And if you want to say a glass of red wine, it's un verre de vin rouge.
Un verre de vin rouge.
Yeah. So in a bar, you could say, I would like, je voudrais.
Je voudrais
un verre de vin rouge.
Un verre de vin rouge.
Yeah.
When you say vin for wine, it's spelled V-I-N.
V-I-N, yeah.
But do you say it more like a vehicle that you drive?
Yeah, it sounds a bit more like van, but even the N is quite soft, so it's like vin. Yeah, it's kind of like saying V-A with a blocked nose, like vin.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, if you hold your nose and just say V-A, vin. There you go. That's it. Because
I don't know how good that is on a podcast. People holding their noses.
Yeah, try it at home, guys. It's really eye-opening. And so that's because the different phonetic sounds in the French language are actually, some of them are a lot more nasal.
Yeah.
Such as that sound.
There's some things that we obviously don't cover in these podcasts because we just talk about things that we enjoy and think that people might like. But do you have a favourite podcast to learn French or learn anything?
Well, in the past I've used podcasts by a group called Radiolingua, who do. I mean, for example, they do a really good Spanish podcast. Is Coffee Break Spanish. I think there's also a Coffee Break French.
Yeah, I've used a bit of Coffee Break French.
Yeah, and they're very, very good podcasts if you want to learn the grammar and the structure of a language. So after our glass of red wine, if we're feeling a bit hefty, we might go for a shot.
Hefty? Come on, what do you mean hefty?
I don't know, a bit Larry.
A bit merry.
A bit merry, yeah.
You might be listening to this over Christmas.
Yeah.
Topical.
Feeling merry? Have a glass of sherry. So last episode we learned how to say to down it. It was cul sec.
Aimer cul sec.
Aimer cul sec. And what you could down is a shot. So you could ask for un shot
of absinthe.
Of absinthe, yeah. Un shot d'absinthe.
D'absinthe? Because it begins with a vowel. The D
merges with the absinthe because it begins with a vowel, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Ew. So now let's think about what is our style of drinking? Are we going to drink, are we going to sit in a corner and just gently sip a cup of tea, which would be une tasse de thé?
Une tasse de thé?
Une tasse is a cup, or more like a mug. Une tasse de thé, for tea, or une tasse de café.
Une tasse de café.
Which is, of course,
coffee. Cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee. A
cup of coffee.
A cuppa.
A cup of coffee. You don't say cuppa for coffee, you say cuppa for tea. Cuppa is tea. Coffee.
But coffee's still served in a cup, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not a cuppa. A cuppa's a tea. Fancy a cuppa?
But cuppa is derived from the vessel of tea. You're saying a pint comes from a pint glass. Yeah. Cuppa comes from a cup. Surely you can have a cuppa of coffee.
Yeah, but no. But the phrase cuppa is for tea.
I actually agree with what I'm arguing against.
You're just playing devil's advocate.
So if we want to say how to binge drink, which is very common in England, let's face it.
And it's not promoted on this podcast.
It's not promoted. We would really like to think about how you drink and be really
responsible.
Drink aware, yeah. But you would describe that by the verb se picoler. So the se at the start of that is what you call is a reflexive verb, which means you do it on yourself, or one does it on oneself. For example, in French, to say I wake up, you would actually say I wake myself up. Je me lève.
Je me lève.
Je me lève.
Je me lève.
So it's referring to yourself. So in the same way, to binge drink is like to binge yourself.
Okay, yes.
So it's picoler, but you put the se, or in my case it would be je me picole.
Je me picole.
Yeah, which means I'm binging. You can also say an equivalent of a British phrase, something like let's get smashed or let's get really drunk. You could say Se mettre une grosse caisse.
Se mettre
Se mettre une grosse
grosse
caisse.
caisse.
Okay, so what that means is mettre
Mettre.
means to put something.
To put something.
And again, it's reflexive, so it's se mettre, so you're putting yourself or giving yourself une grosse caisse. Grosse means
big.
like fat or big,
Yeah.
and caisse is like a case of beer.
Oh.
So what you're basically saying is you're putting yourself, or you're putting a big case of beer inside yourself or within
You.
your, your body, shall we say? And so yeah, se mettre une grosse caisse. That's very familiar. That's very colloquial. So I wouldn't use that. Speaking to adults. If you're saying to your grandmother,
We are adults. You are aware.
oh,
of
okay,
this.
yeah, we are adults. Yeah.
No, but if I was in France and I went to meet a friend's family, I wouldn't
Yeah.
sit down with a glass of wine with them and use this phrase.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you wouldn't be like, santé, oui, on se met une grosse caisse.
Or
That
if we
sounds
went out
really weird.
like with the younger generation of this family, we met up with some friends in a bar, we might use this.
We may potentially use this, yeah.
If you're up for a pie.
It would definitely raise a smile, and as a non-native speaker of French, it would definitely be very impressive to a local.
And-
Yeah,
So you could say that and then tell everyone to down their drinks.
yeah, exactly. Which is
Oh, I don't know how to say to everyone.
everyone is tout le monde.
Tout le monde coule sec.
Voilà. So if we break that down, we have tout or tout. It can be pronounced either, depending if it's masculine or feminine that it's talking about. That means all. So
Oh.
tout means all.
Tout.
It's spelled T-O-U-T. So tout.
Ah, because it sounds a bit like you.
It does, yeah. And then le monde means the world. Le monde. So you're basically saying all the world. That's how you say everyone. So once you've drunk, and once you've drunk in whatever manner you would like, and once you've said all your little colloquial slurs to impress your family friends, and not your family's friend's grandma,
Yeah.
she
She would not
would
appreciate
not
it.
be impressed at all. So once you've drunk all this, you would be drunk.
Drunk. Intoxicated.
Intoxicated, yeah, you could say. And the French word for that would be bourré.
Bourré.
Bourré. So you can use this bourré. You can use it as a verb as well. As the verb, another reflexive verb is se bourrer la gueule.
Se bourré
Se
da
bourrer
gueule.
la gueule.
Gueule?
Gueule, yeah.
Like a Frenchman saying girl.
Yeah,
Gueule.
a little bit, yeah. Gueule actually in French kind of means it's kind of a derogatory way of talking about your mouth. It's a bit like saying your gob.
Your gobble.
Your gob, yeah. In fact, another way of saying be quiet is ta gueule.
Ta gueule.
Ta gueule just means your gob. It's like shut your gob.
Just your mouth.
Yeah, it's like shut your mouth.
You slag.
Yeah, I mean you can also say ferme ta bouche, which is a
Close
little bit,
your mouth.
which is also close your mouth using the correct word bouche for
Ferme
mouth.
ta bouche.
Ferme ta bouche.
Ferme ta bouche.
Yeah, but you can say ta gueule if someone's just really annoying you, just clapping away.
It's offensive though.
It's well, I mean you could use it within friends in a jokey way, but yeah, generally if you used it with a stranger, it would be offensive. Yeah,
If you didn't know someone, you just went,
if you just said ta gueule,
"Eh,
yeah,
ta gueule."
it's very rude actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so you wouldn't say that in a bar unless it was with a mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just watch out.
Word of warning.
You don't want to get in une bagarre, which is
Une bagarre.
a fight.
Ah.
Une bagarre.
Is there a word for bar fight? Like a specific word?
That's a good question. I don't
If you know, contact us.
So this word gueule keeps popping up again. So you've got se bourrer la gueule.
Yeah.
Again, it's like to drunken your mouth, to drunken your.
So
your
you're doing it
gob or
upon
whatever.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you could say il est en train de se bourrer la gueule. So il est en train means
Il
he
est
is
en train.
currently.
Is currently.
Yeah.
So it's happening
He's
right.
in the process of.
Okay.
Il est en train de se bourrer la gueule.
He is in the process
He's
of
currently
yeah.
basically
drunkening up
drunkening
his
his mouth. Yeah. So the following day when he wakes up, he will have a hangover, and you'll never guess what, but the word gueule reappears
mouth.
because a hangover in French is gueule de bois.
Gueule de bois.
And
So
gueule de bois.
So we've got the word drink there, is that right?
Well, that's a very
Of
interesting
drink.
point because it's not actually.
What?
It's spelt the same as je bois, I drink, but it actually bois can mean drink in the first person conjugation, but it can also mean the word for wood. So, for example, if you go to Paris, you could find a forest or a wood called Bois de Boulogne, which is the Boulogne forest.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the same way, a gueule de bois means a gob of wood, or a wooden gob. Now, if you imagine you wake up the next day after a big night and you've got like a dry mouth, like a really dry mouth.
Dirty cotton mouth.
Yeah, it feels like your tongue's made of wood. Feels like your teeth and your gums, they're all made of wood.
Yeah.
You're getting splinters left, right and centre.
Unless you've like taken precautions after you've been drinking. You know?
Well, of course, if you actually had a mouth made of wood, you probably... I don't know if drinking would be the best move, really. So, gueule de bois, hangover.
Isn't it weird that it means wood, even though it's from drink,
Yeah,
and it's very similar?
yeah.
Misleading, I would say, to be honest.
If anything, yeah. But then there's lots of cases of that in English. I mean, for example, the colour red, and he read a book,
Oh, yeah.
pronounced exactly the same, but written completely differently and with different meanings. So it's actually when you actually look
Red
back
and-
on your own language, you realise how many of these things are actually happening in your own language, but you take them for granted because you know what they mean.
Live and live confused me for all of my dyslexic youth.
Yeah, exactly.
Live music.
Yeah,
Do I live the music?
Yeah.
What?
yeah. So
It's unfair.
evil and live. All right, palindromes as well. But the people who enjoy palindromes are usually a bit backwards, aren't they?
Hey.
So if you want to say drunk in a different way in French, you can say a more kind of media friendly, a more politically correct way of saying drunk is actually the word ivre. Ivre.
Ivre.
Yeah.
Did we not touch on this in the last podcast with Zakava?
That was a drunkard. Yeah.
Oh, so someone who drinks too much.
Yeah, so that was a derogatory way of calling someone a drunkard. So this is a completely different word, which is ivre.
Ivre.
Yeah, and you can say, if you're in a state of drunkenness, you can say un état d'ivresse. So the D again is merging with the I of ivre. So ivresse is kind of drunkenness.
Okay. Is there any way of saying I am drunk? Like, je suis
You would say, je suis bourré.
bourré.
Yeah, that's probably the best way of saying it.
And it would, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, a little thing to point out as well is when you're actually in France and you're not learning it in a classroom, when you're speaking it with real French people, normally, just like when, instead of saying I am, I'd normally say I'm. You know, in the same way, in France, generally they wouldn't say je suis, it would be suis.
suis.
It's like suis.
Like,
It's like it becomes a sh, and then suis.
suis. Is
Like
it got
suis.
any j sound?
Suis.
Suis.
In fact, not really. Yeah, it's almost like the J sound disappears and it becomes, so you'd say, je suis bourré.
Je suis bourré.
Yeah.
But people definitely still understand. If there's people learning French and they learn je suis, if you say it, then it will obviously be understood, but maybe they'll be like, obviously you're not French.
Yeah. But generally you'll probably be slurring your words when you are bourré.
You could pretend to practice your French.
Yeah, but have you ever tried pretending not to be drunk when you're drunk? It's a calamity.
It's very difficult.
I mean, if you ever been picked up by your parents after a house party,
Or the police.
either or. Meanwhile, you're trying to maintain a conversation about the pedestrianisation of Norwich City Centre. So imagine we're out on a night out, and maybe we've started out with a few drinks in the pub or a bar, and we've decided to move on to something a bit more hefty.
Hefty
A
again?
bit more Larry, like a bit something larger, like a club, for example. So we're going out, and a lot of people, when they go on nights out, they're kind of a bit flirtatious. They're looking around, they're seeing,
Fit birds.
yeah, fit birds,
Fit birds in French?
A fit bird in French would be a bel gosse.
Bel gosse.
Bel gosse. So belle means beautiful.
Very similar to Italian.
Isn't it? Yeah, bella.
Bella, bello, bella.
And gosse just means kind of like a kid. Like, not, obviously, it's not like,
It's not Jimmy Savile-esque.
No, exactly, yeah. It's kind of like, the way you might call Marilyn Monroe, like, look at that kid over there in like some kind of 1950s
Hey, kid.
film. Hey,
Look
kid.
sharp.
Look sharp, kid. Watch
Yeah,
out.
Here's one for you and your mother.
Get me 2 fingers of milk. So, belle gosse means good-looking girl, and unsurprisingly, you have the male version of belle, which is beau, which becomes a good-looking guy, beau gosse. So, often, like in kind of youth text, a bit like how we have the word lol that's just emerged from all this kind of youth and social networking and texting. In the same way, you might refer to a fit girl or boy by using the letters BG, which would always stand for Belgos or Bogos.
Bilgos.
Bogos, yeah.
Okay.
And if someone does something, if like a guy does something really cool, and you're like, oh yeah, you legend, or like, oh yeah, cool, you could say, oh, we're Bogos. You know,
You're beautiful.
it's kind of like saying, oh yeah, like good lad, like, you know.
You're attractive to females
Yeah.
because you're cool.
Because you know,
You did the backflip.
could juggle 6 bananas at once.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
What's juggling 6 bananas in French?
Jongler 6 bananas.
Jongler. It's a lovely word, jongler.
Yeah. It's good, yeah. Sounds a bit like anglais.
That's probably why I like it.
Yeah, it probably is, yeah. Another thing you might like is going out and you found your Belgos. You've seen her over there and you're thinking, four.
Four.
Yeah, four.
Four. Suit you, sir.
Cheeky. And you might want to, kiss that young girl. You know, say you might want to have a
Can we
little
not
dance.
say young girl? It's just
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it
makes it
sounds
sound
wrong, doesn't it?
weird.
All right, you might want to kiss this bird, right?
this bird.
Ish
This
bird.
broad.
And in British English, you might say to pull a girl, which is in American English it'd be more like to make out with someone. So in French, this is choper.
Choper.
It sounds a bit like to shop.
Choper.
It sounds like what to shop might sound.
If you were to
Might
say
be literally,
English,
translated as. So it's choper. It's CHOPER, choper.
Choper.
Yeah, so you could say il a chopé, which would mean he's got with someone, he's pulled a girl, or he's making out, or he's made out with someone.
Okay.
You know? And okay, and so in French you have a very interesting thing which has occurred over the last, I guess, 10, 20 years in France, and that is this a part of the slang language called verlan. Verlan. And
I
okay,
can't say that.
so it's a style of slang speaking. It's basically a structure which allows the kind of the youth to come up with new words. And basically, what it is the word verlan. It comes from the word l'envers, which is like the inverse, l'envers.
Okay.
And what happens is when you take the word l'envers and chop it in half, and then put the first half at the end, and
So invert it.
invert it basically, yeah. So it goes l'envers, verlan.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's basically the structure of all of the other words that you make. If you've never heard of this, then you should definitely look it up online, because there'll be absolutely thousands and thousands of examples. And one of them is choper. So you can change choper around to pécho.
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 Yeah. Okay. So this is a very colloquial form of speaking, because it's verlan, and it means the same thing. It means to pull. So you could say il a pécho, and instead of il a chopé,
Il a chopé.
so he has pulled. It's il a pécho.
Il a pécho.
So yeah, so it's a very slang way of saying he got with a girl.
So how would you say get your coat, you've pulled?
I think it'd be something like cherche ton manteau, t'as pécho.
Okay, go again so I can say it.
Cherche, so
Cherche.
that's to find.
To find.
Cherche ton manteau.
To manteau.
Ton manteau is your coat.
Manteau is coat.
Manteau is coat,
Manteau.
yeah. Cherche ton manteau, t'as pécho.
Ta pécho.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And in fact, so another thing in French, if you're kind of flirting with a young lady or a young man, if you think you're in there, as we say, if you think there's pretty
You've seen the signs.
you've seen the signs, you've been testing the water with your elbow.
Yeah.
Was that baby's milk?
Or bath water.
Bath water.
Because your hand isn't as sensitive.
Yeah.
Because of use.
If you've been testing the water and you think you're on the right lines, you can say you've got a ticket. So that would be something like t'as un ticket mec. So it's like,
ticket, mec.
it's like me saying to you,
Mate.
oh yeah, you definitely pulled there.
What? So you're
like you're in there, like you're in.
you're
there.
telling me I'm in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously it'd be the other way around in real life, but
Well,
Really?
yeah, you're right, to be honest.
ah,
Because I've grown this beard for Movember, and now it's bad.
beard in French is la barbe.
La barbe.
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 Like barbed
barber.
wire.
Like a barber.
Like barbed wire. Like a barber, yeah. So a barber is someone who cuts your beard. A barb.
Barbe.
Yeah. Or barbed wire. Well, that's different 'cause it's
Yeah,
a barb,
I think barber
yeah.
is closer to the hair on my face than
Yeah.
barbed wire.
Or Captain Barbosa.
Barbossa.
From,
Wasn't his face made of snakes or something? Are we talking about two different captains?
different captains, yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Captain Barbosa
Of
of the Black Pearl.
the Black Pearl fame?
Yeah, you know, he had...
Yeah, but I thought he had like a snake face.
No, he was just Skull. He was a zombie or something. 'Cause
Yeah,
they stole the Aztec gold. Do you remember?
I remember.
Did you not watch that film?
I watched
Did you
the
not watch
first one.
Yeah, the squid guy comes in the second
I
one.
know. Yeah, Squid, because he's got like tentacle face.
Yeah, it's a different character. It's a whole different actor.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Keira Knightley's chin offends me. The pointiness of it.
Yeah. No, I think she's a really, really good actress, actually, in that. Really
I
good.
bet you do.
Yeah.
You wish you met her in a bar.
What? So I could show P.
Oi.
Right. So another thing you could do is, which is a good example of Verlan, is you could throw a party. This is maybe why you're drinking in the first place. You could say faire la fête. You could say on va faire la fête. So on va is like it's like one, but you can refer to we as well. So
The royal we.
it's kind of like a royal we, but it kind of means just a more casual we. So it's not like specifically you and you. We're a group.
It's like-
we. It's just kind of like us, everyone.
You know.
One can have
Yeah,
a
it's not-
party. You know.
Yeah.
So on va is like
On.
one is going to.
On va
We are going to faire la fête. So
faire la fête.
faire is like to do or to
do.
make.
Yeah.
So we're basically going to make a fête or a party, like you know, like a village fête.
A fete.
Yeah, a fête. So
Yeah.
it's obviously comes from the same word. So faire la fête
Faire la
is to throw a party, but you can also take the word fête and you can make a Verlan version of it. Can you try and work out what it would be?
To fait? No?
It's similar. It's teuf.
Teuf. Oh,
Teuf.
okay. I'm
So
just
you could say faire la teuf.
Faire la teuf.
Yeah,
Throw
faire
a
la
party.
teuf. So here's a few phrases you might want to say to your friends if you want to leave or if you need to get home. Maybe you've got work the next day and you've got to just get out there. You could say if you're going with a group, you could say on y va instead of saying on va, which means on va faire la fête. We are going to have a party.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying on va, we say on y va.
On y
So
va.
saying we're there going, or we are going there.
Okay.
So it's like saying we're heading off, we're going there, we're
Yeah.
going somewhere. So on y va means we're going, let's go. And you can say it for the first person as well. You say j'y vais.
J'y vais.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So je vais means I am going. It's the same thing. So you just add the y in the middle. Yeah, very interesting.
J'y vais.
J'y vais.
J'y vais.
Yeah. And you can also say je dois y aller, which means I must go. Or I should there go.
Again?
Je dois y
Je
aller.
dois y aller.
Yeah, je dois means I should.
Je dois.
Yeah. So then je dois y aller.
Je
So
dois y aller.
I must there to go.
I have
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah, there you go. So they're all little things. You could also say je vais me casser.
Je vais me casser.
Yeah, which means I am going. Je vais.
Je vais. Ouais.
And me casser again is reflexive, like we saw before.
Mm-hmm.
It means to break myself. So it's like saying, oh, I'm going to shoot off. I'm going to break.
Oh, I'm going to break off from this.
Yeah.
We're all a tree. I'm a branch.
Yeah.
Break me off. I'm leaving.
Break me off. I'm leafing.
I'm leafing.
Oh, you lad. So yeah, je vais me casser.
Je vais
Casser
me
means to
casser.
break something.
Okay. Could you use that in other ways of breaking things, like I've broken a bone or
Yeah,
breaking
you
a
could
bone?
say if you broke your leg, I could say tu as cassé la jambe.
La jambe.
Tu as cassé la jambe. So something like that. Or if you broke a glass, you could say I broke a window. Like j'ai cassé la fenêtre.
C'est la fenêtre.
Yeah, so something like that. Other little ones that are very common in Europe, you could say ciao. So
Ciao.
Yeah, ciao, which means bye. It's the same in a lot of other European languages.
It's
And
kind
even in English. You
It's
could
kind of recognised everywhere, isn't
yeah,
it? in
it's
Europe?
pretty much the international way
Ciao.
of saying bye, I think.
But you can say hello, ciao. Ciao.
Yeah,
Ciao, ciao.
yeah, true. You can pretty much say ciao for anything, can't you?
Yeah, if you're not sure with anything, just say ciao.
It even means to eat, doesn't it, in English? To chow.
Chow down.
So other little things you could say as you leave is you could say à demain,
À demain.
which just means until tomorrow, see you tomorrow.
Until tomorrow sounds nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, until tomorrow. Until we meet again. Oh,
Weird.
wow. I love it when that happens, when we just speak at the same time.
We said slightly different things, but it meant the same. Which
So, like, you know, and if I was, before I went on my road trip, I could have said, à plus.
À plus.
Or à la prochaine. So,
À la
à plus means like until more, like more time has passed. À plus, like plus or more of time.
The thing is, you left and didn't say anything,
What?
which was really rude.
We hugged it out there, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had a kind of man hug.
A mug.
A mug, yeah. Or une tasse
Une tasse?
in French, yeah. We talked about this.
Did we?
If you want to say see you soon, which is quite a nice one if you've maybe if you've seen some family friends or if you've seen your grandparents or something, you want to say, I'll see you soon, like as soon as I can, it's à bientôt.
A bientôt.
À bientôt.
Could you use that, like we said in the bar, could you say that to a lovely lady that you'd met? Like, see you soon in, like, see you soon.
Yeah.
A bientôt.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you could say à bientôt, or you could say, maybe you could say à demain, if you're really eager.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit too
but
eager.
Too eager, yeah. You don't want to...
Yeah. Pull on the brakes. Chill out.
Don't
You don't want to
feel
scare her off, do you?
No.
With your love tactics.
Because if she is happy with à demain, she's probably needy.
We won't get into this moral debate of that.
No. Be as needy as you like, or not needy at all.
Whatever.
But if you have an opinion on it, probably contact us.
Yeah, if you need to contact us,
What is it,
if you're a
James?
bit needy, you can contact us at pardonmyfrenchpodcast@gmail.com. And I think that brings us nicely to the end of this episode, which has been quite a long one. And yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed this red wine that we're drinking. Okay, so that's the end of episode 2. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Join us again for episode 3 because there's plenty more exciting stuff where that came from.
Yeah, well, we touched on travel in episode 2,
We
so
did.
maybe we could do a full episode on travel in episode 3.
Of course, yeah. If you have any suggestions, again, we've talked about the email address plenty of times this week. What is it again, Tom?
Well, if they don't know it by now, I don't think they deserve to hear it again.
No, that's true.
But just
So-
in case,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
It's-
Pardon My French Podcast
podcast
at
gmail.com.
That's right. So let us know your comments and have a really great week.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing from you.